while my salamanders are being turned into salamanders by stripping my storm wardens, I thought it would be a good idea to record in this time. Also, if you have any idea what any of that means, we can definitely be friends. Chapter 37. A Talk Between Friends. I'm really sorry, Araxa. I've just been doing some stuff, came the feeble and choked response of Demon, as he tried to speak while a Deathstalker claw was wrapped around his throat. Is that really the best you could come up with? You are Alpha, and we needed you to give us instructions, roared Araska, throwing him aside into a tree and slamming her stinger into the ground next to him. Demon didn't seem too fazed by the display, but stood up anyway and addressed her again. Okay, look, I'm here now, so can we move into the process of expanding the pack? First order of business is to assemble the pack. If you had paid any attention at all, you would know that half have left for stronger leaders. Okay then, time to get them back, Demon said simply, walking on over to a Beowulf. Wolf, do you have a name? The Beowulf seemed surprised to be addressed by him and nearly leapt back in fear, taking a spit take to compose himself. No, Alpha. I was not deemed worthy of a name by the past Alpha. He mumbled, turning back to the Deathstalker. I'm allowed to give him a name, right? He asked, receiving a nod. Okay, you shall be called Fulgun. Thank you, my lord. He cheered. The newly dubbed Fulgun, a weird smile forming on his wolfish mouth. Now, I have a special job for you. Can you track the ones that left? Yes, answered Fulgun, not figuring out why he was asking. Good. Take me to them. I need to have a chat with their leader. The Beowulf nodded and sniffed the air for a bit before he ran off into the forest, howling so the Demon could follow him. Said pilot jumped onto Raska's back and instructed the pack to follow the Beowulf, every Grim obeying his command and taking off into the trees. A few minutes later, he came into a clearing and saw hundreds upon hundreds of Beowulf in Arsai, all growling and grumbling while pawing out the ground a few meters from the edge of the trees. Fulgun stopped and pawed back to Demon. They are here, Alpha. I await your command. Good. Although I don't really want any unnecessary deaths of my loyal subjects, so I'll just do this myself. You're going to kill them all? Araska exclaimed in disbelief, taking him off her back and putting him on the ground. No, although it's great to hear that you care so much about your Alpha. No, I'm just going to go kill their Alpha and take them all. This is the strongest pack in this side of the mountains, Araska argued, growling in challenge. Good, then that'll get our numbers up quicker than I had hoped. Demon replied cockily, walking over to the giant pack in front of him. Okay, who's the Alpha? He asked, the group continuing to growl angrily. What are you doing here, human? Came a loud growl from behind. The massive pack, parting aside to reveal a massive Ursai covered in spines and red moss lumbering forward. It was easily the size of a Titan, and he was sure it could hit like a tank. So I take it you're the Alpha. I have come to take your pack, Demon said, sizing up the foe. If you think it would be that easy, you are wrong. You must beat me in open combat to take my pack, so I recommend you leave and run back to your petty city. How about no? Although, I'll let you leave here unharmed if you give up now. I wouldn't want to ruin that mangy coat of yours. You dare mock me? Prepare To die, roared the Alpha, as he reared back and charged, eyes glooming a dark red. Demon smiled and took out his combat knife, putting it in a reverse grip and setting up in a defensive stance. The rest of the Grim set up a circle around the pair and began cheering for their respective Alpha. A small amount of infighting between the two sides taking place as they argued. The Ursa blundered straight up to Demon and took a massive slash that would have decapitated him even if he had full aura. But the pilot dived underneath the arm and slashed up the palm of the Grim, causing a shallow but long gash in the fur. It roared in anger and began slashing continuously at the human. Finding no purchase, Wooly continuously got slashed by the nimbler fighter. Demon dodged a slash by the Ursa and stabbed a knife into the forearm of the Grim, holding onto the blade, using his momentum and vaulting onto the back of the beast. He wasted no time, stabbed several times into the unarmored fur of the back of its neck, severing the muscles and making its head hang low. "What have you done?" roared the Alpha, clawing out its back to dislodge Demon, but by this time he had stabbed his knife into the beast's back with a rope attached, then dropped down so it was hanging just a foot in front of its face. It saw the human and tried to bite, only to find that it couldn't even move its head. Demon casually looked around. Demon casually took out another knife from his armor and flashed the blade in front of the beast's eyes, seeing true fear finally come across its features. Demon smiled and stabbed into the Ursa's eye, twisting the blade and tearing it back out. It roared loudly, somehow managing a sound through its broken tendons, although it was quickly silenced when Demon twisted it upside down, kicked its head hard enough to snap it around fully, killing the Ursa. He cut the rope and dropped to the ground, pulling into a small roll to avoid the massive body of the Alpha that crashed to the floor behind him, the rest of the Grim going silent. "Your Alpha is slain. Join my horde now if you don't want to die." Demon's previous pack howled in admiration, and a few of the Beowulfs and Ursa from the other pack slowly made their way over to join the howling. The others didn't at all seem interested. It didn't seem to fear death, even when it was staring them right in the face. "Demon, we have a problem." You always seem to say that when the fun's starting. "The beasts aren't moving. They are under a mighty control of sorts. There's no way they can be convinced to join you." "So we're going to have to kill them then. Fine by me." "A route I would approve of normally, except that it would be much easier to break the hold on their minds, as fighting would certainly lessen the numbers of my pack and have to completely negate the entire hunt." "And how would we go about breaking this mind control?" "Watch and learn. Mix up the watching and learning. I need to take control of your body for a second." "Fine, just make it quick." Demon felt his consciousness lapse, and for what seemed like a few moments later, he came back into consciousness, and the entire pack was now stationed in front of him. He didn't even bother questioning Calazar and how that even happened, always receiving half-truths, every answer. So he just went with it. "Welcome to the pack," he shouted, opening his arms wide as to encompass the massive Grim that now stood in front of him. As the others would know, Araxa here will be my emissary, so anything she says, you need to follow. And if not, I'll get this big guy here to rip you a new one. We clear." Reeks, the massive Ursa enforcer from before, stepped up beside Demon, while growling and baring his fangs. crushing any last thoughts of resistance. Demon smiled as he saw the entire pack bow low, recognizing him as the Alpha, and then decided it was about the right time to mock Araxa. So, not bad for the first day on the job, eh? Your presentation and execution could use some work, but yes, that was excellent work, Your Majesty. You're just jealous, he teased, avoiding a stab from the scorpion's stinger. Ah, someone's mad. Anyway, I gotta get back to kicking some ass back in civilization. You think you can hold the fort down for a while? If by holding the fort you mean ensuring the pact does not dissolve before your return, then yes, I believe that task can be accomplished. Okay, do we have any Nevermores yet? Or what are these Nevermores you speak of, Alpha? Oh, right, they have different names. The giant crows that shoot feathers. I believe two were pressed into service when you conquered this pack. You may find them near the nests at the back. Good luck making sure none of them leave. If they do, then make sure that Rash gets some more dinner for the night. Wait, I never forgot to ask, but what the hell do you guys eat anyways? We do not consume food in the manner that is accustomed to your species, as we feed on the negative energy and life force of those with a good soul. We do not require as much sustenance as a minute of draining will offer us content stomach for a month. When was the last time you ate? When dust changed before you killed our previous Alpha. Oh, so you're hungry, aren't you? We have not yet received any signs of starvation in the pack, but the signs are showing. We would certainly require feeding soon to keep us alive. Great, one thing about keeping pets, you have to feed them, Demon muttered as he began moving from his perch towards where he could see two Nevermores near the back, jumping onto the side to avoid another attempt from Araxa to crush him for the comment. He bounded up into a tree and used his parkour kit to avoid the massive black fur beneath him. Then, eventually, made it to a branch just above the two Nevermore. They slightly inclined their beaks in acknowledgement, but didn't really show much interest. I need the help of one of you, Demon stated simply, one of the two raising their heads to look at him. And what would you require? He replied, his voice sounding slightly chittered and strained. I need transport back from here to my nest. And I don't have anyone faster than one of you two. So you want us to run errands for you? It stated, lowering its head, resuming whatever it was doing before. No, I need to assist your lord by getting me somewhere very important. By running errands? Well, when you put it like that, it sounds terrible, but yes. I'll take this one, Seraph. You look after the eggs. The other one announced, standing up and shaking its feathers. Only a few drop onto the white and red eggs beneath. They were about the size of a small horse, and even looked like it was bleeding. The Nevermore reluctantly walked over and bowed so the demon could get on, Pilot obliging and jumping onto its back, pulling the feathers behind the crook of its neck. We fly! Demon cheered valiantly, pointing off into the horizon. Then he was nearly thrown off the Nevermore's back as it bellowed its wings as hard as it could to flap into the air. He nearly ripped the feathers out, given that the Nevermore screeched loudly, then leveled out just above the tree line. Where to, Your Majesty? It inquired, hovering in the air just above the nest. I think, west, Demon answered, grabbing onto the tough feathers again, as the Nevermore set off at blinding speed. The ride went well enough, Demon learning that the Nevermore's name was in fact Blindig Shatten, something which he found funny since half of his crew were from Germany, and it was strange that half of the Grimm had names from different languages. Then, out of nowhere, a bullhead crested the horizon ahead, traveling perpendicular to the Nevermore. Yeah, shit. 1 hour later. I still don't know how I managed to convince that pilot why my bullhead looked a lot like a Nevermore. Demon had managed to avoid the prying nature of the bullhead pilot and got the Nevermore to take in where he had landed his own bullhead in the clearing a couple kilometers outside Beacon, thinking the Grim and watching it fly off. He powered up the engines and was soon off to the academy, whistling a nice little tune as he did. I wonder how the others are doing. Amity Stadium, Vital Festival. A cheer erupted in the stadium as Yang had finished off Mercury's aura and was pumping her fist into the air in triumph, the crowd joining in. I got to say, she is quite the fighter, Marcus mentioned to the rest of the angels. Damn right. Hurts when she kicks my ass every time I do something wrong, Tempest said, rubbing the back of his neck. I still think I could do better, Jaeger interrupted, still not even bothering to look at the match, but instead using the chrome finish of his knife to comb his hair. Again. Yeah, well, Demon will have to finish her off in the final round if he wants any chance of that trophy, Tempest noticed, watching as Yang cheered. Although something very odd happened. Her eyes snapped to over where Mercury was. Only she wasn't looking at Mercury. She was staring off into space straight above him, looking as though she was looking into someone's eyes. Tempest continued to watch, seeing that Yang was scowling at something right behind Mercury. Only then did she punch straight down at Mercury as he was laying in front of her. The crowd immediately silenced, and a roar of disapproval and boos emanating throughout the stadium. He was never stupid or angry enough to actually hurt someone, apart from Demon. He watched the massive screens in the stadium as it showed Yang punching Mercury while he was down again. That was what happened, right? Wait a minute. What was that when the fist and leg connected? He switched to the video feed on his helmet and replayed the video. When she fired off Hammer Celica, the trademark yellow glow came off. For some reason, sparks flew off Mercury's legs, but definitely weren't from the weapon. He cut the feed and saw that she was now surrounded by a couple of Elysian knights and some Elysian soldiers. Marcus, scan Mercury now. What? Just do it. A small pulse wave came over the HUD as the pilots watched. Then something strange came to light. Stop everything! Tempest shouted over the din of the crowd, tapping into the speakers to play his voice at max volume. He stood up, and the entire crowd was staring at the interruption. 1 second, I need to get down there, announced Tempest, jumping out of his seat and using his parkour kit to jump down to the next row. Then continued until he was standing on the platform just outside the ring of knights. This is not what it looks like, began the pilot, pulling out a smoke pipe from seemingly nowhere and putting it on a Sherlock Holmes cap. Miss Xiaolong here is not at fault for this dreadful performance. What are you talking about? She punched my brother, came a shout from a girl who just ran over and kneeled next to Mercury. Oh, she did. I know that much. Although, 'twas not her fault. How can it not be her fault? The girl yelled again. Mercury, may I ask how much your leg hurt? It hurts like hell, man. She put a shotgun bullet through it. Well then, Tempest spoke, walking over and kicking him in the leg again. Ah! Mercury screamed, holding the leg in pain. 3 of the Elysian knights turned and aimed their weapons at him. It's rather strange that there is no blood covering the floor, even when you claim a shotgun pellet entered your leg, or the fact that there's no bullet hole on the floor to show that it passed through. By this time, Mercury had stopped crying out in pain, although he still held his leg. The girl crouching next to him narrowed her eyes. Before either of them could react, Tempest dived down and ripped off the legs of Mercury's pants, revealing his metal legs. awfully strange how metal legs could hurt so much, Tempest announced in mockery, smiling as he saw Mercury's and the other girl's faces instantly drop to hostilities. The girl was balling her palms while Mercury's legs were twitching, like he desperately wanted to break Tempest's legs instead. The crowd had already started to boo and shout profanities at the stage. Only this time, it was directed at the wounded student. The Elysian soldier said something into his walkie-talkie before pointing at Mercury. 2 Elysian knights went over and picked him up while taking them off the stage. The soldier walked over to Tempest as it happened. I've been instructed to take you back to my boss with the girl. If you would please follow me. Sure. Although, can I take one of my friends with me? I am sure that would be fine. Tempest nodded, updated his HUD, telling Jaeger to get down to the stage, pilot dropping in seconds later. What do you want? Jaeger asked, still styling his hair. I need your expertise of finding flight paths. Well, you've come to the right place, my friend. I'm the very best person in the known universe to ask. Yeah, I just hope this goes well, or Demon will have my head for getting his sister in jail. Speaking of Demon, where is he? Probably doing something that seems completely unbelievable and annoying half the non-existent fan base, so they'll stop reading the story because nothing is explained well at all. You know what? That's true, Not Beast. You don't explain anything. The voice in Demon's head, not explained. Just how he's so effective at killing everything, not explained. How he can take down a Grimm, not explained. How the voice can talk to Grimm, not explained. Why the voice in his head thinks that the Grimm are hot, not explained. Should I go on? How can Vanessa, his big titan, manufacture enough rounds that are compatible with his weapons without completely breaking Demon's bank? Oh, and it's now in the second story, and we still have no fucking idea who the voice in the girl's head is. Get a move on, Not. Get a move on. I see you every day. You're playing Battlefield 5. There's just so much that just doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. I love the story. It's easily my favorite fan fiction of all time, but you just kind of have to accept everything. Most of the stuff doesn't get explained until the second story. Ugh. Anyways, sorry. Back to it. It was then that Tempest's Hammond pistol decided to fire in its holster, ripping a hole through the pilot's clothing and causing Yeager to actually nearly drop his comb. Okay, I'll give you points for that, Ryder. That was pretty original, Tempest added, looking up into the sky for some unforeseen being. We'd seriously need to check out your sanity, Yeager stated before putting away his knife and comb and following the Elysian officer. Tempest looked up once more and scowled before walking over to Yang, helping her along, while her eyes were red with tears, and she was muttering something. Damn it, Demon. Where are you? Demon's Pod, Beacon Academy. I feel like something really important just happened.
You always have that feeling, and you're never right.
Well, I guess so. But I still feel like I should be going somewhere or doing something.
We could go murder.
No, I know where this is going, and it's already stupid.
But I wanted to kill that Nico's girl by crushing her between 500-pound magnets.
Why do you sound like you're pouting?
Because I am. And also there was someone here to see you.
Huh? As he was about to question what he meant, a knock came at the door, light and quick, as though the person was hesitant to do so. Demon stood from his couch and walked over to the door quizzically, and opened it, and finding the one person he didn't expect to find. Standing nervously in the door, twiddling her hands idly in front of her, was Rosaline. Oh, shit. Hi, Demon, she stated, her cheeks already flushing a deep red. Hi, was all that he could muster back, as he seemed frozen on the spot, his heart beating a lot faster than normal. Look, I just want to say I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done what I did without asking you first, continued Rosaline, twiddling her thumbs as she did. Well, you technically did, Demon mused, earning a small smile from the girl. I should be the one apologizing. He quickly fully opened the door and gestured for her to come in. Rosaline politely nodded her head, coming in to sit down. Demon closed the door behind him and walked over, sitting next to her. He mulled over something for a while before he finally decided and reached up, taking off his helmet and setting it to the side. So, where do we start? He asked, noticing her already red cheeks becoming even more crimson. I should have never did what I did. I just thought I was helping you, she confessed, looking as though she was on the verge of tears. I never thought it would ruin our friendship. It's nothing like that, Damon consoled, wrapping his arm around her shoulder. I just didn't want you to get into something you never knew about. And what do you mean you thought you were helping me? I heard from someone that you have a terrible time sleeping at night, and I thought you'd be better off if you actually had someone to sleep with, she admitted, sounding a bit sheepish to admit. Demon knew she either had some damn good contacts or had been watching him sleep, because he never told anyone about his nightmares. Although he had to admit they were better that night. Thanks for the thoughts. I just never thought anyone would care that much, admitted the pilot, telling her what he honestly thought. He never knew someone would actually care. Hawk, stop beating yourself up. Know that I'll always be there for you, she consoled, sniffling back tears and hugging him tightly. I just... sorry, he stuttered, not really knowing what to say. I don't want you to get hurt. I can't tell why you will. Can't or won't? She challenged, drawing a groan from Demon. Telling you would cause more pain than if I didn't. Hey, you literally left me to do nothing for like 3 days. I'm pretty sure I can handle it, she countered, smiling as Demon's face filled with guilt. Where did you go, anyway? He asked, smiling his own mask of victory as her face twisted in guilt as well. I went to go meditate, she began. Then her face lit up. Oh, I found my semblance. You did? Great, but how did you figure that out? Hey, it doesn't work like that, she warned, coyly smiling. I'll tell you my secret once you tell me yours. Fine, you win. This may sound stupid, but the reason I wanted to tell you is because the reason I fight so well is because the voice in my head tell me how. Her eyes went wider than he could have thought possible, and she recoiled as if hit by some unforeseen force. She looked behind Demon for a while, and even looked like she was having a conversation in her head. Is everything okay? He asked, concern crossing his features. Yep, she said, not sounding convincing at all. Okay, so now it's my turn. I accidentally fell off a cliff, and that's how I found my semblance. It took Demon a few seconds to mull over the information. 2 questions. Why the hell did you fall off a cliff while meditating? And the other is, why the hell did you fall off a cliff? She giggled a bit, but stood up and stared at him in the eyes. That doesn't matter, but I bet it'll beat whatever your semblance is, she mocked, smiling victoriously. Demon didn't have any time to question before the bright light suddenly engulfed the room, and when it dulled, he was absolutely lost for words. Rosaline had what he could only describe as purple, spectral angel wings flowing from her back, fluttering in some unfelt wind. True to her guess, he couldn't do anything other than stare in amazement. Pretty neat, right? Holy shit, you're a damn angel, he swore, receiving a slap across the cheek from Rosaline and a stern look before she collapsed into laughter. I know, it's awesome, she laughed, flapping them with a thought and lifting off the ground.
She may be more than she realizes.
Kazar suddenly interrupted, sounding more forlorn than at all interested. What?
Just something that I noticed some time ago. Like you, she is not alone in her mind.
So she is the equivalent of you in her mind?
In a sense, although it is not quite the same. It's giving off an unpleasantly nice vibe. Almost as though it's another one of those annoying pacifists.
Sounds a lot better than what I think I'm stuck with. Wonder if she'll trade.
Wow, it almost sounds like you don't like me. I'm offended. Anyway, you should be considering the fact that it is completely obvious when you talk to me.
No, it's not. Demon! Shouted Rosaline, once again to his ear, finally snapping out of his gaze. Crap! He screamed as he fell over in shock once again, picking himself up a second later. Yeah, sorry about that. Just tend to phase out a bit. Not listening to the voice in your head, she teased, stopping when he looked down guiltily. Wait, you were? Maybe. He just kind of tends to appear randomly. And you talked to him? She asked, floating back down to the ground with her wings dissipating in a swish of purple. More like think to it rather than talk to it. But it does really help when I need it. She flicked into deep thought for a few moments until rushing over and embracing him in a tight hug. Just remember that you have people who care for you now. Don't ever forget that, Rosaline whispered, resting her neck on his shoulder. He returned the hug, although one thought was playing through his mind. What are you hiding, Rosaline? Apparently I'm not the only one hiding secrets, and pretty soon I'll find out yours, no matter what. They stood for some time, favoring the feeling of each other's bodies. That doesn't sound creepy at all. Until they both heard heavy footsteps from outside. They quickly broke their embrace, and just in time to see Weiss run into the pod, panting heavily. It's Yang! Come quick! She almost shouted, turning around again and sprinting back to wherever she had came from. Demon turned to Rosaline, shrugging his shoulders, went after her, picking his helmet up on the way. Oh, these two wimps have one voice in their head. I got 4. If you can't go through life with one voice, you're useless. You're weak. Atlas interrogation room. So you're saying you just happened to see the sparks fly off his metal legs? The Atlas soldier questioned Tempest for what seemed like the 100th time. Yes! Why can't you just believe me? I'm sorry, just have to check the records. May I ask why you brought your companion? He asked, gesturing to Jaeger, who was, wait for it, combing his hair with a mirrored glass in the interrogation room. To prove Yang's innocence. I'm sorry, but without evidence, we can't excuse her. So we can possibly do is disqualify her from the tournament and place her under house arrest for maybe a month. Exactly. That's why I brought him, Tempest announced, taking off his helmet and pulling out the video clip. Do you have a computer or something I could use? The soldier nodded and exited the room, coming back a minute later with a small laptop. Tempest thanked him and updated the files, bringing up the video from when Yang apparently assaulted Mercury. I've already seen this video. It's not going to help your case. On the contrary, it shall be the evidence we need, Tempest stated, pulling out his pipe and hat from nowhere again. If you watch the video carefully, you'll see my case. That's why I brought Yanger along to help. I don't see how. Let me break it down. Look where her eyes are looking. She's not even looking at the kid. She's looking behind him. Now, as Jaeger will show you, her eyes follow a path that will put her right to where Mercury actually is. Jaeger walked over and looked over at the video, pointing with his fingers to show the path of her eye. Now, with my CQC training, I know that the strike she performed was not meant as an attack move, but as one to block while still attacking the enemy. She thought someone was attacking her, Yeager added, knowing the Tempest was going to say that anyway. I still do not see how this helped your case. Couldn't it just be a case of contemplation? The Atlas interrogator tried to argue, getting an "are you shitting me" look back from Tempest. One word: semblance. I'm sure you'll find many examples of illusion semblances, which are meant to confuse the enemy. Yang probably just fell victim to a plot where Mercury wanted to seem like she hit him. I don't know why she would, but I'm certain Yang didn't attack out of rage or anything like that. Tempest proclaimed proudly, standing up and smiling wildly. I've got to hand it to you, young man. You can certainly figure out quite a complicated case, came a calm and ordered voice from the doorway. The officer stood immediately and saluted, Tempest and Jaeger both turning, not bothered with the formality. General Ironwood, sir, barked the soldier, still not breaking the salute until the man dismissed it with a wave of his hand. So you're the famous general the demon keeps telling us about. Tempest began walking forward, offering a handshake to the general, receiving a firm grip in return. And you must be Tempest, and this is Jaeger, no? One and only. So what do you need, General? Just came to commend you on your research and say that Michelle Long has been cleared of all charges barring accidental assault, meaning that she's cleared for the next round of the tournament, and will only be placed on the watch list. Thank you, sir. We won't forget this. I wouldn't ask for anything more, but I consider going to Team RWBY's dorm to calm down Michelle Long's brother before he gets arrested for assault by trying to get into the interrogation room and maim Mercury. Understood, Tempest chimed, grabbing Jaeger and pulling him along the corridors back to the dorms. He really didn't want Demon to go to jail just yet. He still needed to get more shells for his rocket launcher. Crow Branwyn, Vale, on mission. Hello, this is Crow speaking, came the slightly annoyed and far from sober voice of the old crow. Mr. Branwyn, I've called you to say that your niece is in jail. Osmond stated rather nonchalantly. Excuse me? The yellow one. Thank God. Don't scare me like that again. Oh, I forgot how much that last part made me laugh. Anyone down to play some Apex Legends with me? No? Oh. Well, geez, only 4 episodes left. That's pretty good. I'm kind of sad it's so close to ending. But that's still a few weeks off. So, without further ado, I shall leave you here and go and continue making my girlfriend's Stark Eldar. So, have a nice day.